Our first in-studio guest was a fixture on the Chargers sidelines for nearly 2 decades.
Dr. David Chao, no stranger to controversy, which makes him a perfect fit for the wild, wild west of social media.
While Dr. Chao is still seeing patients, his rising Twitter fame that has him batting leadoff in our show tonight. You can hit him up on Twitter at Dr. Chao, at Professional Football Doc, at Professional Football Doc.
Welcome, Doctor.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so you have been an NFL team doctor for many, many years. Why transition into this social media realm?
Well, it's kind of an accident. I was trying, you know,
as it always is.
I don't even have a Facebook account. Okay, I needed to slow down a third back surgery. My twins, they're now almost 2 years old, and spent some time with them. Decided, I couldn't do all the traveling, and literally I was on the couch last season for the first time, and watching football games and making comments to my wife about this injury, that injury, and she literally said, "Tell it to somebody who cares. Here's a Twitter handle. Don't bother me with that stuff."
Right.
And it sort of took off. A lot of NFL friends retweeted, and a lot of media followers and so forth. And I think it's an empty space, so it's kind of interesting.
You cannot dismiss it as some lark because you're too good at it. You have the ability to, I assume, sitting at home with multiple TVs on, right?
Well, one TV and maybe some others recording, yes.
So you can diagnose a ruptured patella tendon from your sofa. How is that possible?
Did it for 17 years with the Chargers, had the advantage of all the videos and replay angles. So every Monday morning after treating players on Sunday, seeing them Sunday night and Monday morning, after we got the MRIs or x-rays, we would go upstairs into the video room with Brian Duddy and his crew, and he'd show us all the video of the injuries. And we would study them, and that made us learn and get better to try and recognize injuries, how they happened, and hopefully how to prevent them and how to treat them better. So it's not by accident, it's just kind of what we do. There's no question that an offensive line coach knows who missed the block on a certain play and we don't, or a referee knows which play was a touchdown and which one wasn't. It's just you get good at what you're doing.
By looking at the video.
By looking at the video and getting used to it and knowing the mechanisms of injury.
All right, speaking of injuries, let's talk about concussions a little bit. We just saw on that graphic there, the number is going down, but is it really a case of maybe underreporting because now they know the consequences of being diagnosed with a concussion?
It could be, and the culture, I think, has changed. It used to be it was macho not to say you didn't have a concussion. Now it's okay to say you have a concussion, and everyone knows it. So it could be a little bit what you said, but I think the bigger thing, and I've written about that on my column, is that it's a contact sport game, and you can do all the rule changes you want about defenseless receiver and helmet-to-helmet hits, but what about the linemen on every play where they're getting hit?
Right.
And there's a lot of other ways to get concussions other than the defensive receiver. The Charger playoff game, there were 3 players with friendly fire concussions from your own player. You can't legislate that out. Head on the ground like Jamal Charles in the big playoff game. You can't legislate that out. So the NFL, I think everyone's trying, but it is a contact sport.
I believe you wrote a recent column on Adderall, and it's and how it relates to, there's a difference between performance-enhancing drugs and drugs, substance abuse. Could you distinguish, talk a little bit about your column on Adderall?
Well, write it for Monday Morning MD at National Football Post, and we talked about Adderall because Adderall is currently in the performance-enhancing category, which means there's year-round testing. Substances of abuse is testing only certain times of the year. So what they're talking about and where they think maybe this will get overturned by Wes Welker is he got caught under performance enhancing. And Adderall is an attention drug, and perhaps taking on Sundays can help you, but taking it in May does not help you in the fall. So that may change with new HGH legislation forthcoming.
Very interesting. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit off of football. You had a great event just last week that does a lot of good for our community. Let's talk a little bit about what happened last week.
The event is Taste at the Cove, and we have over 1,000 people come. We honored Coach Steve Fisher. We had about a dozen current and former Aztec players there, from DJ Gay to Tim Shelton to Brandon Heath, and out on the waterfront there. And Jalen Rose came and presented the award from the Fab Five, and Coach Fisher is one of his early mentees, etc. Everyone from Rampage Jackson, Nick Hardwick, all were there, Marcus Allen, and we raised a lot of money for kids who don't have insurance. So let's say single parent mom who doesn't have insurance, works as a waitress, making ends meet, kid tears his ACL, one of your PPR kids, what do you do now? Well, we see them for free on Saturday morning injury clinics. In the last 5 years, we've seen 1,000 kids, done $150,000 of free care, and we even do free surgeries on them. We've done almost 100 surgeries over 13 years, $1.5 million of free medical care, and that's our fun event. You saw pictures of Taste at the Cove.
Really great.
Very, very cool. Folks, if you're a fantasy football player, this is the guy to follow because he knows who's going to be playing even
yeah,
before the little red dot comes up on your
I know.
feed.
I was looking at your Twitter feed. It's very interesting.
Help me out again.
At Pro Football Doc.
At Pro Football Doc. At Pro Football Doc. It's a must Twitter follow. Dr. Chao, thank you so much for being our leadoff guest. It was important to us to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Dr. David Chao, everybody.